A pleasant afternoon to you today. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise. I'm out northeast of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today. Just wrapping up an inspection on a 65 Mustang convertible, 289 4-barrel D code car. And got it still jacked up. So we'll get to the underbody here shortly. I've got to put the trunk back together. This video is being shot for a potential purchaser out of state, and this video is going to be uploaded and shown only to him until he decides whether or not he's buying the car. And later on, this video will become a public video. If you're watching it, this car may or may not be for sale. Hard to say. Might be sitting at home in his garage. But that's the product. If you like it, 800-301-3886. Call it and book your own inspection. We travel all over the place, have other inspectors in other states. I cover Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, most of it. And happy to be of service if it's something you think you'd like. Okay, there's my commercial. Let's get to work. I guess I'll start here on the trunk so I can get it put back together once I bring the car down off the jacks. The trunk seems pretty solid and stable for the most part. Wheel tub seams have been redone. I don't believe the tubs have been replaced. I thought maybe they were in the beginning, but I don't think so at this point. The quarter panel has been replaced on both sides. That would be the quarter panels. And they have done what's called the layover method. Sawzall cut it about an inch from the top all the way up. Left the door jamb alone. Over here, a little easier to see the seam heading up there. And it's that way all the way back to just before the tail panel structure. Right there you can see it. The rail structure and the rear tail panel support, that looks all original. Doesn't look like it's been whacked from the back in any way. There's likely a possible rust repair that's been kind of taped over in this area. Hard to say. Paint's been touched up. Original part numbers in those parts right there, those uprights. Bolt missing out of one of them. So structurally pretty decent. The fuel tank has been pulled out and repainted. May have been changed at some point. There is a busload of receipts, many of which I've taken photos of, and there's more that come with the car. So some primer sprayed over some barren spots. Really not much else to see. Looks like an original portion of a wiring harness there, and some new wiring and taillight assemblies at some point. Gas tank's been out. You can see the bolts have been fussed with. Seams along the decklet are pretty good. Little paint barren in areas, and some swell up there where the skin lip is separated a bit from the shell. Over here we got some filler noted, and the paint readings were high here in this general corner area where it's been filled, and there's some overspray on that rubber seal, but it's been changed. All right, so there's our trunk. So here underneath the vehicle, back of the left rear tire, lights have been replaced at some point in time, bumpers as well. Minor patina, there's some age showing, but they're not bent up or really damaged in any way, just some general visible damage. Comment on that while I'm low. That inner splash structure has been partially repaired with some tin, and cut out. You can kind of see the seam up there where it was cut out and some rust was repaired or covered over. These leaf spring bushings are older, showing some deterioration. Up here on the frame rails, there's been some undercoating applied to the boxed rail, so it's hard to see the structure of the rail, but it looks decent. If you look along the flange where it's welded to the trunk pan, you can still see evidence of a flange with some minor spot welds popping out to show you structure, show you connection rather. So not necessarily bragging rights, but not looking too bad. And the other side, we've got a similar setup. Up here we can see the original frame support going from side to side, and it doesn't look like it's been pulled on, torn, ripped, or dipped. I got good still photos of all this. New screws holding that lower valance panel on. And then this panel was also sectioned in right there. You can see where they kind of made a cut to the tail light harness and fed a piece in there and then sealed it off. All right, let me hit the pause button so I can move. Actually, before I move, point out the rear disc brakes that were added and the original axle housing that does not appear to be restored. A newer brake line put across there. Cosmetic surface rust on a 1 7/8 common stock exhaust system. Underneath the vehicle, we kind of knew this before I was coming down here, there's a generous amount of undercoat that's been applied to some areas of the vehicle. Along this pinch weld, we can see evidence of original spot welds. There's a piece of tape that was run here, and then it was sprayed from half the rocker structure underneath. It's nice and dried up. Heavier truck bed style lining. They sprayed over the leaf spring perches on the corners. Whoops, I'm not pointing there. And then there was some probable repair work here in the wheel well, and some peeling old aged undercoat up there. Rail structure has been lifted on with a hoist pad here, you can see, and there's a matching mark on the other side. And so obviously when the car was lifted at this point, it didn't crush the rail or do anything unusual. It's a sign that the structure seems to be intact. Overspray on some of the parking brake and brake cables, overspray on some exhaust components. No major active leak coming out of that rear end that I could see. That was a question asked earlier by our potential buyer. So coming up through here, let me move my hand. This isn't exactly the scientific way to test a floor pan, but it seems pretty stout underneath there. These torque boxes right here, I saw a receipt that those were replaced. So we know that those have been sectioned in. I'm not sure, I didn't see a receipt on the front rails, but looking at that flange seam along the floor pan, I don't see any gaps in it, and that's good news. I don't see any pop rivets either. That's good news. These rubber slash plasticish, rubberish floor plugs were replaced once the floor was sprayed, and they are supple. They're not hard and cracking. Probably the old ones were. I do want to point out before I roll forward that there is a little seepage dampness that kind of shows itself at that yoke seal. Not really active. It could be old and have been repaired already, but there's evidence of some weeping going on there. While I'm moving along the bottom of the car to save me from having to bend over later, there is some small spots and paint chips and just general deterioration here where they fastened on this rocker molding. You can see the molding is kind of walloped in at the connection points. Maybe somebody took a rubber hammer to it, hard to say. And there's some chippage down here low on the door, on the rocker, coming through here. And there. So some leftover wax that needs to be removed from the car. Small chips, contact chips here, up there. There's still photos of all of these things around the vehicle. And over on this side, the door corners had good, reasonably good, readings. Let me make sure I'm on mils, and I am. So there's repairs in both corners, 46, 44, 39, no read, 28, no read, and then 41. So this corner's been repaired, and we have a similar scenario on the other side. 16, 22, and a 17. So this one's decent. The other one's showing a little less mil reading. Less mil thickness reading is what I meant to say. So anything below 25 mils, 26 mils, a business card magnet will stick. And then I'll show the overlap here of the lower dog leg of the fender on the other side, which protrudes a little from the rocker. But sliding forward, this rail structure on both sides is essentially the same. You can see the flange along here where it spot welds to the floor pan, and that doesn't look like it has any unusual separations, or it's just hard to see what's there. Exhaust system's been crossed over. Up front we have rebuilt front suspension. We have disc brake setup. Stabilizer bushing links are in good shape. Tie rod ends, sleeves, inner, outer, pitman, idler arm, and steering assist. All that stuff's been replaced, rebuilt. Control arms do not appear to have been cosmetically restored, and the ball joints look like they were changed at some point, upper and lower. Not sure about the springs. No sign of blue oil pan Ford paint overspray down there. Pretty good indication that the engine has been out when it was rebuilt. Little bit of transmission fluid seepage going on there at that line tie together connection. The transmission was hard to see in the earlier photos posted, but if I can get my arm out of the way of the light, we can see that the tranny does not appear to have been out or rebuilt. Didn't see any receipts on that. Rear transmission seal doesn't look like it's pouring any fluid on the ground. It just doesn't look new. So I'm gonna go with stock trans with no possible rebuild. All right, we'll trip down the inside floor pan structure of this side of the car. The driver's door requires a slam to get it closed, not just because it's actually up on jack stands on the axle, so that's as if it were sitting on the tires. But the bushings in this door need to be rebuilt. Both of them really do. While I'm down here, there's a crack in some of the filler, this corner of the door. It wasn't giving us a very good reading, and likewise that in the rear. He's going to lunch, so I gotta step it up here. Can't see much really going on different on this side. Evidence of some original spot welds on this rocker to floor connection. Can't tell where the floors were sectioned. Same black undercoat present. No obvious repair this time. And the wheel tub. And the rail structure and torque box structure looks the same. Here we've got some The dog leg of the fender kind of rotating down and out. So no big deal, just not short up to the floor like the other side. No major damage seen on this rail, and where some of this undercoat was already peeled off, you know, the structure itself seems stout. So, and again, here's where the floor, the hoist pad lifted the car. No buckles in the rail. And same goes for up here. Some overspray on the exhaust. You know, rinse and repeat. Steering assist cylinder looks like it's in good shape, and again, tie rod ends and sleeves and all that look like they've been replaced, and so do the lines, and everything really in front end suspension has been rebuilt. And while I'm on the ground, readings down low, 12. That's nice. 8, even better. 15, nice. 12, nice. These readings are similar, by the way, side to side. 15, I'm up the door. And then down here, 32. And then we're no read, oh, 37, 64, 55, 39, 18. So you can kind of see where our repair, 67. So this area of the door has been repaired. And tough angle here, 46. So 41, no read, 73, and 52. So again, repair here, and then you can see the door bushings are affecting the alignment slightly. We can see small chips, contact chips, and a little bit of general wear and fatigue to the paint down here along the bottom, and then some chippage where the rocker moldings were reinstalled and whatnot. That door will slam shut tight, by the way. Just you have to really give it a slam. Also, while I'm down here, this rocker molding's popped out of its original clip here, and it's loose back here. It needs to be reaffixed. Whoops, hit the wrong button there. This piece of trim is got a tear in it, and there's stage 1, so 15 on the well. I'll do a quick run around here. These quarters have been changed, so we already know we're going to get good readings, except for at the points of where, need to be on mills. 15. We know we're going to get good readings on the quarters because they've been changed. All right, let's get her outside and get it down. A quick pan over the parts that I pulled out of the trunk. So we've got a mat, we've got a bag for the tonneau cover, spare tire cover, spare tire, 14-inch wheel, extra grill, new inner door moldings, some inner chrome trim, old side of Ford aftermarket valve covers, books and whatnot, the rubber seal that's missing from the passenger door, an additional rubber seal, not sure what it's for, a new master cylinder, and some inner plastic splash shields. That's going back in the trunk. Okay, the trunk is repacked. Gotta get that grill fitted in there a little better. And we'll do a cold start video next. Ground temperature is 47 here. And the engine temperature, okay, I'm ready to go, is 54. Do a cold.
See if it starts back.
Choke still on, no smoke on startup, didn't hear any knocking, did hear an exhaust leak, not sure where it's at.
Around the block?
Yeah, just if we can get it through the gears, it's basically. Speedometer's operating.
Yep.
fun, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Off for a second, then take off so I can see it, feel it shift, or just hit a. Is anybody behind you?
We're gonna go up here and turn around.
All right, yeah. You flip on the wipers. Beautiful, huh? My forehead's getting a little cold. It's kind of thin on hair these days.
Yep.
But I'll take it over a blizzard any day.
Yeah.
Speedometer's logging at about 50 right now. What's the, can you read the odometer? We'll read it when we stop, what the odometer says. 124 something. Here, I'll just get a pan of it. 24116, looks like it's turning. Can we do a fire drill and maybe I drive it back, or?
Yeah.
All right. Switch out, will you, I'm going to go behind the car, will you tap on the brake lights and just hit the turn signals real quick? Thanks. Yep. Yep. You tapping the brakes? Yep, there. A little weak on that side. Can you do reverse? Can you do reverse? Yep. Headlights. Brights. Brights. All right. Yep. All right. You want me to record you? Yeah, I'll hand it right off to you. That sounds great. Gas. Temp's still coming up. Actually, it's rolling.
Okay.
Thanks.
It's in black and white.
Oh, that's just the
okay.
mode it's set on. It's all right. see a puff of smoke. Heard some exhaust leakage up front, either at the manifold on the driver's side or somewhere below it. Speedometer's working, odometer is turning, tach is working, clock is working, AM radio's working, heater controls are working, wipers are sweeping, headlights and taillights and reverse lights are working. High beam indicator on the inside, the red light is not operating. And the turn signal
Up there.
Oh, thanks. Turn signal indicator on the inside is flashing as it should. AM radio comes on. Horn's a little. You heard the horn earlier. I don't know. Well, I saw a receipt for new horn components, so and the steering wheel components and the chrome, all that's new. Got a green dot Cruise-O-Matic bezel, that's new. I'm going to leave it here so you can do the pulling, obviously pulling in honors. I want to do a circle around the car and finish up the video.
Just leave it run.
I want to hit the pause button real here. Thanks a lot. Alright, so doing a wrap up on a cold day north of Pittsburgh. What we appear to have is a decent driver quality Mustang convertible. Evidence that the motor has been serviced or gone through, and we probably got an original transmission and original rear end. The car is showing some various contact chips, but it's showing no exterior rust, rot, or decay. The headlight surrounds are slightly darker yellow, probably painted a little later than the rest of the car. There's some miscellaneous chippage and scratches in various locations that I photographed for our potential purchaser. In a minute I'm going to shoot an engine temp manually just to see what we've got there. So this rocker molding is going to need some work. Some of these chips could be touched up in various locations. This window won't roll down because this chrome molding is getting sucked in. It's not affixed properly, and I didn't want to damage anything. Here's some of our original color. This door doesn't close super easy. It requires a slam, and you can see there's been some contact damage over the years. But if we give it a little shove, there it goes. General patina and wear showing on some of the trim. These seat covers have been changed up front, and they have the black aftermarket stitching. The rear seat with the light yellow, or excuse me, the light blue stitching apparent, and you see some stitching actually just eroded and gone there. A little bit of pitting on the chrome trim. Inside the car, carpet kit's been changed, floor mats changed, and this vinyl upper portion of the dash is showing some warpage right here, some raising from heat. I'm going to let it keep running, hoping that gas gauge works. Temp seems to be maintaining nicely. Door panel uppers have not been repainted, but those panel inserts look like they've been changed. Just a little bit of general wear and fatigue in some spaces. Got a rubber seal on this door, but it's missing on the other one. It's in the trunk. That looks like a replacement trim tag, possibly. I've got still photos that we can blow up. We knew that the rivets were replaced before we got here, and that tag looks very clean. Minor patina going on the window frames, and just some general lackluster paint work in the jambs and in the trunk, kind of where it doesn't really show. A few cracks seen in the sill of the vehicle, and just some general touch-ups. Not a high quality repaint, but yellow's a forgiving color. Door jambs, again, just general bit of lackluster lackluster appearance. You can see that the door bushings need to really be tended to. Sagging a bit, giving us some scrapes on these newer sill covers. The convertible surround top trim is showing stage 1 and 2 pitting, and when we put the convertible top up halfway, after about 4 or 5 minutes, it releases its pressure and the top falls on its own. We didn't intentionally put the top all the way down. That just went there on its own. This window does finish going down, and all the other windows roll up and down as they should. Original car light markings present on everything. Windshield has a couple tiny little stone specks. They're very small. To call them a rock chip would be a sin, but that's what they are. So again, we've shown some of the chips and scratches on the car. From about this distance right here, it's got a really nice look, and you don't really see any of the flaws all that. They're not all that apparent. But we get up close and we start seeing some of those paint chips and whatnot. Tires are date coded from, I believe, April of 2020. Nibs is still present on the tread, and they don't have any miles on them to speak of, and no dry cracking. Uniroyal Tiger Paws. 14-inch steel wheels and 14-inch spoked caps, a little bit of patina on the tri-spinners. Alright, this video is probably long enough. I'm going to hit the pause button. Let me get under the car one more time and see if we've got anything pouring out of it. Issues there. The paint's a little thin down here on the lower portion of the grille frame. We definitely got an exhaust leak, and it has not sealed itself up. Engine temps maintaining nicely, 172. 168, radiators at 137. The oil looked good, the transmission fluid looked proper. Got a replacement distributor, 4-barrel replacement Holley carburetor, original style yellow top coil, and original style generator, but the owner reports that the car is not charging currently and it needs to be redone. The bag for the windshield wiper squirters is missing, and the squirter unit is disconnected, and there's no rubber lines run to the squirters. So those aren't going to work. Hear just a little rattle, but I think that's something external. So up top, last thing to be noted is the shock towers have been changed, and the front apron section has been changed. And when they changed this, they did not cut the old VIN number out of the old shock tower and section it in here like some guys do. Some guys do, some guys don't. You can see original Ford part numbers here underneath the hood, but nothing here on these front sections. Front lower rail sections, they have been changed as well. So the only place this car has a VIN is on the title and on the data tag. The coolant was too low to get a visual look at. It should be topped off. The radiator looks new. Engine paint's in pretty good shape. Power steering pump was blue and was painted black. But the engine bay has a really nice appearance. Upper tie bar looks like it was, upper core support looks like it was replaced. Aftermarket power brake booster and dual master cylinder, and then there's another one in the trunk. You can see a new valve in between the lines and the master cylinder, proportioning valve. So that's pretty much a wrap. Jason from Auto Appraise, finishing up down here in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Reasonable lines for this period.